Well, welcome everyone. It's January 19th. It's a very frigid day here in Toronto, Canada. My name is Mike DiMuccio. I'm your host for this brief but very powerful call. We have a lineup of speakers that I'm sure you'll enjoy hearing from and learning a little bit about their story and their recommendations for how you might want to get your business started. There's a number of you coming in from all over North America, perhaps even Europe, joining us today. We are recording this call for the benefit of those who want to watch the playback. And we also realize that you were probably either at the beginning, at the end, or somewhere in the middle of an event already. So we're thankful that you have invited us to join you to share our stories. First up this morning, this afternoon, depending on what time zone you're coming in from, is a Royal Diamond calling us from Orlando, Florida. This is Susan Carver. She's been with Nikken 22 years. And in that entire time, that's the only network marketing experience that she has. She's been with Nikken the entire time. So why don't you share your story, Susan?
Thank you, Mike, and welcome to everyone that's listening today. What a pleasure. Hope you're having a great event and some of you are learning some new things. I had the pleasure of learning this for the first time, like I said, about 22 years ago. And it was a kind of a strange message because I had no idea of the connection between the Earth's magnetic field and putting magnetic energy in particular products for people's health. So it was, if it's a little like strange to you, that's okay. That's exactly where I was. I was like, what's the connection here between infrared light from the sun and putting ceramic fibers in different products to actually support people's health? So that was kind of foreign. And the other thing that was foreign is I'd never worked for myself before. So maybe some of you watching have always had someone else provide your job, which, is to provide your livelihood. And they offer you a position and then you offer them your life and your time and your expertise and your knowledge. And that's kind of the way most things happen. So it was two foreign things, Mike, that came at me at the same time. It was the whole idea that magnets do something more than hold things on a refrigerator. And the second thing is that I can actually create my income as an individual, and I can do it globally and have a ton of fun. And so those were new things to me, but obviously I liked and I got enough information and learned about it and started to get going. So I kept my job. That's the first thing. So if any of you get really excited today, stop it. Don't go in and Monday or Tuesday resign. Don't do it. This is something you actually keep your primary income. And this is something you do as I guess the new word, Mike, today with the young people is a side hustle. When I was young, that would be something illegal. But anyway, we're side hustle now are these cool gigs you do. And I'm like, okay. So keep your jobs, folks. Don't be getting crazy on me. And make sure your hustles are, legal. But this is a side hustle in today's language. And I kept it on the side. And I kept my primary job. But my heart, my soul, my future, my vision was with my company. And so it was really awesome because when I found out about this, Mike, I had $4,100 in my bank account and I was renting a room in someone's house. So it was not exactly abundance time in my life when I was 28, 29 years old, but I heard the message. And the message is, if I don't change something, then I'm going to get the same results. And so I dove in here. I learned about the connection between the Earth's magnetic field and iron in the blood and how the magnetics and our magnetics in particular actually localize circulation and help the body to help itself or to heal itself. And so I was digging it. I was absolutely digging it, Mike. And then the opportunity to have my own autonomy, to set my own schedule like I've been doing for over 20 years and decide when I work and when I don't work and how much I work and who I work with, which is all of you guys today. Well, I don't know. This isn't work, but we have to call it something, right? And so I'm just happy. I'm content. I'm 52 years old and I'm healthy. And what else could you ask for to be free and to have your health at the same time and do it with a like-minded group of people that also want to do something different in the world, make a difference, but also want to change their own reality.
Susan, just one question for before you leave us, and that is, if you had your first 90 days in Nikken to do over again, I mean, many of us have thought about that, especially when we're starting somebody new. What would you do the same, or what would you have done differently if you started today?
Great question. Thank you for asking. Well, anyone that's listening, please understand that I am a poster child for how to do it wrong and then can still be successful. I broke, Mike, every rule. I mean, every rule, every no-no in this business when I first got started. I broke every single rule. Let me tell you quickly what they are. Number one, I only went to events if I had a guest. I was very selfish. I was like, but my guest didn't show up, why should I go, right? Number two, I didn't do any of the reading. I didn't do any of the personal development. Number three, I didn't use my team that was supportive, that was above me. You know, like in management, your manager or your vice president. I didn't use any of the people that had experience and a track record. I didn't do it. I didn't go to big events. I didn't go to big events because, you know, hey, I'm me. I got this. So I broke every particular rule that you can do, but the one rule I didn't break was I didn't undercapitalize my business. I got my samples. I knew that you couldn't sell these products in a catalog. That's why the company needs us to start with, because they need someone to talk and share and actually let people feel and experience them. So I knew that without my products, I wouldn't have anything. So the only thing I did right was I capitalized my business. I had my samples. I got to use the products, and then I got to have them for demonstration. So that was the things I did right. As far as what would I do over again, I blew it in another way, and that is that I saw too few people. I had too much space, Mike, between these 4 people that I talked to and the next 4 people. And so those huge gaps, that's why you and a lot of other people have rocketed to the company a lot faster than I did. It's not a race, guys. You know, it is a race. It's a race with yourself. But as far as comparing me to other people, they took off because I had too much gap, because I spent too much time. Instead of seeing a lot of people quickly, I kind of slowed that process down. And so it took me longer to find the people. So when that happened, I lost a lot of town and lost a lot of time, and I lost a lot of ground. So that's the big mistake. So take the amount of people that you're going to see. If you're going to see, if your goal is to see 100 people, that's not a lot. You probably have 200 or 300 people. I'm looking at my phone or more in our phones, right? But if you're going to see 100 people, just take that instead of putting it over 4 years, right? Go ahead and squeeze that down into like 90 days or 6 months, and you'll have a greater business and you'll have more fun.
Fantastic. Thank you for that advice. Thank you for sharing this morning, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, sir. You guys have a great event. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Susan. We're going to go over to the West Coast now, to San Francisco, California, where we have Diamond Bernadette McBurnie standing by. She has also been only in Nikken in network marketing for the last 19 years. Bernadette, tell us your story.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Well, you know, my story is I actually come from corporate background, and a different story than Susan. I was in corporate background and decided to stay at home, to be a stay-at-home mom. That to me was very important, and then discovered Nikken. So how I discovered Nikken, frankly, was through the product first, because I had a very specific need for my daughter who was not feeling well. So when I learned about the products, all what I was looking for is a solution to help my little girl. That really happened in a short time, so I was blown away by the impact of the product. And with that in mind, I just said, my gosh, people need to know. That's what I'm saying. I've never heard about network marketing. I swore I would never be in sales because I didn't like it from what I could gather. But I'm the kind of person, when I believe in something, I just spread the word. And that's really what it was. And frankly, it's when I decided to do that, I realized there was a lot of negativity out there. My husband was one of them, because he said, oh my gosh, what exactly are you doing now? And also, you know, that type of thing is your corporate. So that's really what really got me into Nikken. We traveled the world, we lived around the world. And one thing that attracted me after looking at the impact of the product is the opportunity to do something from home because I was determined to continue to be a stay-at-home mom. So for me, having that option was phenomenal. And then to be able to do it wherever I wanted to be, because my husband and I, we lived literally around the world. So I wanted to have that freedom of choice to do what I wanted to do, where I wanted to do. So if there's any parent out there, woman out there who's looking for that flexibility, it's just a fabulous option, frankly. And the idea of working people, I want to do something that really matters, really attracted me, and being in control of my time and the income that I wanted to put in. So I love that, and I'm all about lifting people up, and this is a great business to do that. So
fantastic. Wow. Well, you are such a bubbly person, and I've enjoyed the years working with you and continue to. Bernadette, same question I'm going to ask you and everyone else. Again, if you had your first 90 days to live over again in Nikken, in hindsight, what would you do different today if you were starting today, or what would you do the same?
Well, I would say some of the things that I would do the same, and I urge everybody to do that, is one of them, I think the misunderstanding is because we do this part-time, most people will go in this with a part-time mindset. And that to me is something that we need to correct, is no matter how many hours we put in, whether it's 5, 8, 10, is to really focus during those hours as if it was a full-time profession. So then we treat it with the same respect and work ethic that any other profession, instead of saying, I'll do that when I can, or I'll do that when that I think is so critical, because when we have the right mindset, the decision we make will be different than when we are just doing that on the side. So that is one thing that I really ask people. The things I would do different is I would trust the system, the process much faster. One thing, especially if we are used of working on our own, or if we had any kind of responsibility in our career and so on, we tend to be, we don't really ask for support, because in traditional business and corporate, asking for support or help means we don't know what we're doing. And that is a reflection of, oh, I'm not competent. Well, in Nikken, actually, the best way we can learn the best is by saying, I don't know, teach me, and trust that. Because the support team is there to really help us. So that's one thing, is really trusting the team, trusting the process, and then really look at the process as a recipe for success, and embrace every step of the recipe, not just some of them, because then the recipe doesn't work, So that's something that I would absolutely do. And then the other thing is be consistent and disciplined, no matter how little or much time you have, is really to treat it and be very focused, doing it consistently, never stop. That is, I believe, is critical, and just have that passion and enthusiasm as if you started today again. And I think one of our greatest assets is just to show our passion and our enthusiasm, and really always remember is what's best for the people who we talk to. That's why we do the business, is to always go with the outcome is what is best for the people we talk to. And when we do that, magic happens.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bernadette, for sharing your insights on helping people get a good start in Nikken, and for sharing your story today. We're now going to go up the coast to Gig Harbor. We're going to hear from Royal Ambassador Dennis Williams. Dennis has been in network marketing. He's a veteran, 43 years in total, 27 of which with Nikken. So lots to share, lots of insights there. Dennis, are you with us? Tell us your story.
I am, Mike. Thank you. Yeah, we started out like a lot of people. And after high school, I followed people's advice to go to college and get a degree and create a resume and pass it around and get a job with a company and work for 40 years and someday retire and live happily ever after. But after 12 and a half years in management with that major corporation, I decided I got tired of the politics and the drama, so I quit. And Ruth and I did something else on our own for about 10 years. It didn't turn out as well as we hoped it would, and we had 3 kids starting college at the same time. So we decided I better do something. So I got in the car business and sold cars for 5 years and Ford cars and trucks. Worked 7 days a week and long hours on a straight commission. It was very stressful, but that's what we decided to do. But I didn't have any time to be with my family. We had 3 biological children, and we adopted 2 little girls when they were babies, and I could be the salesman of the month, and then I'd go from hero to zero, starting over again. It was very stressful, and I just didn't have any time with my family at all. And so we didn't pay attention to Nikken right at first when we first introduced it to it, but it was introduced to us. But then when we finally got it, we jumped right into it. And I think one of the greatest benefits that we have is people asking, what's your favorite product? My favorite product answer to that has always been freedom. The ability to do whatever we want to do, whenever we want to do it, help where we want to help. Never have to really ask ourselves, do we have the time or the money? I know it's a great insurance program too. You know, after in our 5th year, we moved from where we were to Vashon Island, and I got some bad genetics in my family. I had to have some major surgery. It kind of put me out of commission for about 3 weeks, and I couldn't work, but I had a lot of time to think. And all I could think about was, what if I'd still been in the car business? You know, who would have sold a car or truck for me when I couldn't show up? Well, the answer is nobody. At the end of the year, we got our 1099 from Nikken, our 5th year. I remember looking at the total, and I told Ruth, I said, this is pretty amazing. If I was still working at Ford, to earn the same amount of income, I would have had to work there for an additional 37 more years. Some people say, oh, you mean weeks or months? I said, no, 37 more years. I don't know. Sounds impossible, but that's actually what happened. And I think one of the greatest benefits is bonding we've been able to have with our family that I never could do when I was working all those hours for those companies. And we've been, for about 12 years in a row, we took a cruise every year with a 7-day cruise. And we invited a lot of our Nikken people to go with us. And sometimes we had, a few hundred of us. And it was a business trip. We had meetings on the ship, and we took my mother with us, my mother-in-law, Ruth's aunt, and all our kids. It was just a bonding experience. And when the girls were about 10, 11 years old, Ruth was homeschooling them, and we decided to take them on a field trip. So we got a motor home and put the vehicle on the back and headed south on the 2nd of January. And we were gone for 3 months and drove 11,000 miles and 21 different states. And we take the girls to that, teach them about the Alamo and take them to the Alamo and doing meetings along the way, so it was all a tax deductible trip. We just really enjoyed that. And we had one part-time employee to stay home and pay the bills and open the mail for us. But we came home after being gone for 3 months and found out we'd earned a high 6-figure income while we're on vacation, right? Working vacation. So, and a doctor couldn't even do that. And then I guess, when the girls were graduating from high school, Ruth took them on a 6-month backpack trip across Europe, and that was another bonding experience. So anyway, and the biggest thing is changing people's lives for the better. In our home we had on Vashon Island, we had a wall with pictures of the people that had achieved the top levels at Nikken, and people would come by to work on the elevator or the heating system or something. They'd say, who are all these people? They don't look like our grandkids, and we had them on a different wall. And it was just fun to say, well, there's just a few of our friends who've helped become millionaires. And they typically say, well, can I be one of your friends? Why not? We can all use more friends. But those people on that wall, they were all different ages, and some were married, some were single, some had a lot of formal education, some had very little. And the thing is, Nikken gives everyone an equal opportunity to become as unequal as you possibly can. And we have one life to live. And I remember the Phoenix Suns at one time had a sign in their basketball locker room that said, the game is scheduled. We have to play it. We might as well win. And that's how we feel about life. And Nikken is a great way for everybody to win.
What a story. Awesome. Love hearing your story, Dennis. We got started in Nikken at the same time. I think you were just ahead of me.
That's right.
Well, okay. Well, I have the same question for you, Dennis. And that is, if you were to start your Nikken business over again, looking back with hindsight, what would you do different this time around in the first 90 days, or the same?
Yeah, actually, it would probably be the same. The biggest thing is, once we saw this thing, we got so excited about the potential, the possibilities of helping people and changing their lives as well as changing our own. Our fear wasn't that somebody we knew was going to say no to us. Our fear was somebody we knew was going to say yes to somebody else. So we went to work, and I was working full time when we started, so we had one night, we picked Thursday night, and every Thursday night we got a wellness preview. And we invited people to come during the week. We'd have lunch. We'd invite people. We were talking on the phone. Ruth was calling people. And we just, every Thursday night, we outgrew that location, had to move somewhere else. And then when I finally we went full time, Ruth was keeping me so busy I couldn't afford to work at Ford anymore. So anyway, every single Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, I was doing a presentation somewhere in someone's home or a hotel or somewhere, either on the coast or Wenatchee or Yakima or whatever, all the time. Monday night was family night for us. Friday night was date night. Saturday we had trainings or on the phone doing things. And of course, during the day we were doing things. And Sunday we didn't do any business at all. But that's kind of how our schedule was. We really put forth the effort, and we sponsored 15 people in the first 6 weeks. And they weren't superstar anybody; they were just regular folks. But we just, like I say, got excited about it and went to work, and we didn't have it. We were kind of not, we're kind of broke actually at that time, and we bought everything Nikken had because we knew we had to have the products. We had to have them to use, we had to have them to demonstrate. We couldn't tell people what they needed to do if we hadn't done it ourselves. And today we've got those wonderful packs that people can purchase, that make it so simple to be able to choose what to get. And you pretty much got a wellness home when you have them. And so that's basically what we did back then. We didn't have the facts, but we bought everything they had. And, if we'd asked somebody if that was a good idea, they just said, no, not at all, in our position, but we did it. And like that, at the end of our first full month, Mike, we had 70 people in our personal group. And I called Nikken. We didn't have internet. I called them up. I said, what's our volume? They said, your volume is 25,500. Could have knocked me over with a feather. I turned to Ruth and I said, our business is over. She said, what do you mean it's over? I said, we got 70 people in our group. They bought $25,000 worth of product. There's nothing else for them to buy. There's no consumables at all. Well, Ruth is smarter than I am. She says, well, Dennis, we got 70 people and they're excited. They're not being quiet. And if they each sponsored one person next month and they bought $500 each, our volume will be 35,000. I said, well, I hope you're right. Anyway, she was right. We didn't get 70 new people, but we had 50 and our volume was 33,500. And the next month, our volume went to 57,000 and went to 71,000 and went to 87,000. And then June came around and our personal group volume plummeted, clear down to 50,000 a month. I thought a bottom had fallen out of our business. I didn't know that was good. But anyway, the basic thing is we went to work and we were excited about it. We made a commitment, we made a decision. Money never had motivated us a lot in the beginning, but poverty sure did. So we made a commitment and went to work, and it's turned out very well. We're just very, very fortunate and happy and be able to help a lot of other people change their lives as well.
Wow, what a story. You're awesome. Thank you for sharing, Dennis.
You're welcome, Mike.
We're now going to go again down the coast in San Diego this time. We're going to listen to someone who's not necessarily a veteran in network marketing, but she's cut her teeth on network marketing with Nikken for the last 18 years. Platinum consultant, Ruth Loth. Ruth, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you. It's an honor to be here this morning. Loved hearing everybody prior to me. So thank you all for encouraging us. So I'm going to just take a few minutes and just tell you a little bit about our Nikken journey. We started 18 years ago. Prior to Nikken, I was a CPA. I did that in corporate America for 18 years, but I worked a lot of hours, 60 to 70 hours a week. I would go to work at 7 in the morning, come home at 11 o'clock at night. And then when I had my first child, I had to hire a live-in nanny because daycare couldn't handle those hours. So I continued to do that because I thought having that corner office was so important. Then 6 years later, had my daughter, and all of a sudden I decided, I need to be at home. So I quit my job, created a little bit of stress in our family household because at that time accountants made more than engineers. And but there's always a time in your life that you just have to trust God. This was one of those moments for us in our family. And so we were in St. Louis at the time. We moved to Florida because Robert had a promotion. And when we were in Florida, God brought Nikken into our lives. And so my daughter was 1 and my son was 7. And I decided to take a look at this business and see if it was a viable solution for me to contribute financially. And it was. In the second month of our business, we went silver. We did 3 back-to-back entrepreneur clubs and generated 33,000 points. And this is with a 1 and a 7-year-old at home. So don't tell me you can't do it. And then a few months after that, Nikken had this amazing contest and we won a brand new Mercedes-Benz, a new 320, which is crazy that Nikken wired $49,000 to the dealership and we drove off the lot the car that was paid for. A few months after that, Robert got a promotion, went to upstate New York. So here we go. We're moving to another state, don't know anybody, and start all over again. We went gold in New York. We're there for a year and a half. And then Robert got another job to Chicago. And we ended up being in Chicago for 10 years, and we went platinum in Chicago. And during that time, there was a 9-month gap that we did not work the business because my mother was diagnosed with brain cancer and lung cancer. And she did pass, but during the whole time caring for her and taking care of all her affairs, it took me about 9 months that I did not work my business at all. I had upline, crossline, downline support. It was amazing. Then a few years after that, in 2012, we moved to San Diego. So we've been in the business 12, 13 years, and this is our fourth state. And each time we moved, we didn't know anybody. And we are hoping to go diamond when we're here in San Diego. And we moved here 2 weeks in 2012. And at the end of the second week, my daughter's best friend, who she had known since she was 4, had died in a freaky drowning accident, and it just rocked our world. And we knew at that moment that our main focus had to be for our daughter. So we put our business on the back burner for about 2 or 3 years, and we focused on, I volunteered everything. You know, she was a cross-country runner, a soccer player, track and field runner, and I volunteered for everything, for all 3 sports. I was also on the PTA and Education Foundation. Any opportunity to volunteer, I was there, because I felt I needed to be there to support her and to know that I was there. Well, fortunately, and God willing, she thrived, and we were very blessed that she thrived and did really well. So come junior year in high school, we're like, okay, we can focus back on the business again. And then she sustained a severe concussion in soccer. So it took her 8 months. It took her 8 months to even run half a mile. And she used to run a 5:40 mile. So it was a huge thing for her. Thank goodness for the Nikken products and technologies and the business, so that I could take time to take care of her. So finally, senior year was great. And we said, let's refocus. And you hear that a lot in our journey. We refocused to do our business again. And we did Team Kaizen in 2016. And then the following year, our son got married, and then we had graduation, and then we had college. And so we weren't focused again. And then in 2018, this year that we just ended up, we are Team Kaizen for 2018, heading to a 10-day trip with Mike to Italy, all expenses paid, courtesy of Nikken. So our journey has been incredible these past 18 years. And this is the thing that I want to share with everybody. You know, Nikken is such a viable, legitimate home-based career that we can do it the way it works for our family and our lives. So don't make excuses. Just come join us. Okay?
Fantastic, Ruth. In listening to your story again, I'm reminded you said you did 3 entrepreneurs clubs back to back when you launched your business. So I doubt you're going to tell us what you would do different. Well, maybe you will, but I'm certain you would tell us that I would do that again, right? Tell us what would you do different, or what would you do the same if you were living those first 90 days over again today?
So I think we would do things differently, even though we were so successful, because we just went like a bull in a china shop. We just went crazy. And I would like it to be more peaceful. And that's the way it was when we did Team Kaizen in 2018. You know, we focused, we had goals, we evaluated our goals on a daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly basis. I mean, daily, Robert was putting numbers on my board in front of me. And we were just focused. And being focused created a calmness for us. So we're able to do our business with grace and with peace. And that is in the Bible. So that's one thing we would definitely do differently. Also, just evaluating everything that we were making a decision on. Okay, this thing that we're going to do, is that going to support our goals? Because many times I would be distracted. Oh, you need me for this? Sure, sign me up. Now we're like, okay, is this going to help us? And if not, we're not doing it, because we need to stay focused. We have seen in the past 18 years, when we're focused, we get things accomplished. So that is definitely one thing I would change going back. And also just truly being a core consultant, right? Just doing the listening, the reading, the mentorship with people, watching our videos, and just showing the plan, and just getting out there meeting people. Whether it's online, I do a lot of Zoom connects, or whether it's one-on-one in coffee shops. The other thing I would do is, well, we have continued. We always pray. We pray before we go to bed for all the things we're grateful for. We pray when we get up in the morning, because we're so grateful we have another day to make a difference. And we pray for things that happen throughout the day, because I can't tell you how many blessings that we are continuously having, that God is so good. So that is something that we should have done more of at the beginning of Korea. And the other last thing is distractions. We should have made a list of things that were distracting us, and then pull them out of our lives, because it was the distractions that threw us off and made us work that much harder and created more craziness. So those are some of the things we would change if we were to do this again.
Wow, this is like your PhD in success. I'm telling you, this is what an awesome call. Thank you for sharing that, Ruth. You're awesome. Congratulations on your 2018 Team Kaizen as well.
You as well.
Thank you. All right, folks. Well, that's it for us. I hope you've heard enough to make some real clear decisions about how you're going to approach your business in the next 90 days or your life in the next 90 days if you haven't made a decision to join us. I want to remind all of you on the call as well that the next big event, you heard Susan Carver talk about big events, the next big event that you want to put on your calendar is in Layton, Utah. That's going to be February 7 to 9. If you don't know about that one, please go to magneticleaders.com, click on events, check it out, and we hope to see you there on the Nikken Highway. Thanks. This is Mike DiMuccio signing off from Toronto, Canada. Have a wonderful day.